$50. Really? Huh? There was a whole bunch of stuff when I went. So,
What today?
160, and I got $50. Like $40
All right, team, we're about to get started here. For everybody that's joining us live, welcome. I am going to post this live. Hey, Ruben. Ruben, I want to post this link on Team 24 Fit. Can you help me really quick? We're live. I just need you to try to copy the link from put it on Team 24 Fit.
Embedded? Which one do you normally use?
I don't know. Never done it before. At least I know.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult?
Oh, you're trying to get the link for it?
Yeah, it's like. There we go. Oh my God.
Can you right click it?
We're live,
I'm trying.
so maybe we want to go re-live. But I don't know, unless you sent them our no, I get the list.
Nope. All right.
There's something wrong with the clicker.
But we want to use it. We want to redo it.
The link just will stay up there. No problem.
What do you want to do? Because we're recording live.
Yeah. We can post it later. Oh, it won't be live if it's right now. We'll be able to post it later,
Okay, perfect.
but it just won't. It's just not live.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's start. Welcome to MindFit. See some familiar faces, see some brand new faces. Every single week we have MindFit. This is the Fit Lab. Welcome down for those of you that, whose first time is it down to the Fit Lab? Awesome. welcome. Can you share with us your name? My name is Lisa. Welcome to the group. This is our center where we teach people how to get healthy through mind, body, soul, holistic health, 80% nutrition, 20% fitness, 100% mindset. And this is our time during the week where we get to come together and talk about the 100% mindset piece. Every single week we have a different topic. This is being recorded live, so we get to send it to all of our clients, every single one of our friends, whoever we want to share this with. This week's topic is discipline, which is really, really exciting. How we share during MindFit is well, let's start with the intention. So the intention of MindFit is to uplift, empower, inspire each other, create a high-level conversation, put ourselves in a higher vibration, so when we go out in the world and we meet people, we're able to elevate other people around us. So our whole goal is to elevate each other so we can elevate the community, we can elevate the world. So when you share, a lot of times how this conversation unrolls is we have a topic, we have a story, and then somebody will share. And what I'm asking you guys to do is share from a place of not like those sad details, but what was the lesson inside of what happened so we can learn, if that makes sense. So we don't want to be like necessarily crying here with you. Like, we definitely share a lot of tears. We create a space to be vulnerable together. We really want to create a space of empowerment, to uplift each other, to raise the level of awareness, to raise our vibration. So this week's topic is discipline, which is really, really exciting. We've been talking about it in all of our fitness events, and discipline's definitely, I think a lot of things come up for me personally. I don't know what comes up for you guys. I think discipline, I can have a negative relation to it. I think in the past I had a negative relationship to the word discipline. I think it brought up a lot of fear for me in terms of who I had to be, and it was very rigid, and it was very like control-based, I guess. And as I've learned to shift my relationship with word discipline, understand what it really means, and really being inside of discipline and having daily disciplines and doing what I say I'm going to do and having integrity with myself actually leads me to living on purpose. So through shifting my relationship with discipline, I've actually been able to not only, start to have some of my dreams become a reality, but I'm starting to learn more about myself. As I heighten, as I stay disciplined and I heighten my awareness around discipline and I create new disciplines. So I'd love to hear what comes up for you guys around the topic of discipline, around being consistent, whatever discipline means to you, how you've seen it show up in your life. And even before we do that, last week's topic was on consistency, which was very similar to this. I think discipline kind of takes consistency to a different level. Does anybody have anything that they want to share from last week in which they created after MindFit? No, nothing came up right now. Okay, no problem. We can move on to discipline. So, who wants to share first? Yeah, Kels.
I think discipline for me is something that's shown up throughout this week, especially with really focusing on it, is just showing up. Like showing up for people, like you said last night, like show up for future team, your future life. Like if you don't show up, like how you do anything is how you do everything. So that's something I'm really focusing on.
Awesome.
Staying disciplined on that. Yeah.
I love it. Who else wants to share?
Oh, I will.
Okay.
Discipline to me right now is
Can you share your name?
key.
Okay.
People. And it's very different than what it was. So I'm learning how to just be kind to myself as I learn what discipline is, going from 12, 15-hour work days to working kind of zone, which I hadn't anticipated, and figuring out for me what that looks like with my fitness and with my time, and kind of forming the hours in my day for the freelance work that is kind of coming at me that I did not anticipate. So it's going from that rigid, like in an office schedule, to kind of figuring out what that looks like. It's just a completely flip-flop for me, and just kind of, instead of being down on myself and like, oh, I'm not doing this or doing that, being open to, okay, well, I actually get to be disciplined in setting my hours and my life and how that shapes up with my time and who I get to share that with and who actually gets to be in that space with me. So it's just a very different, it's definitely transitional. I'm still kind of wading through everything and figuring out what that's going to look like moving forward. And trial and error, and just being kind to myself and saying, okay, well, that didn't exactly work. All right, you weren't as proactive as you should have been, so we'll try different tactics until I find something that really works for me.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah.
I'm Regina. Discipline for me right now, especially with being in Italian program, trying like super. I had so many emotions last night after the day. I was like crying and cheering and agreeing and scared. And to feel all of that at one time, I was like, what's going on? Whatever it is, I'm not that. So for me, discipline is not only showing up for others, which I'm glad my sister is here, because it's weird how we've been trying to catch up with each other for a minute, and she knows it has been like oh, I'm late for this or I'm late for that. So it's not just showing up for others, but now I want the discipline to show up for myself. Because if I'm happy and if I show up for me, then I will be there and be available and consistent and be on time and everything. I mean, because health situation comes into factor also, but it's no time. I mean, just, yes.
I love that.
That's great. I have a couple of things. Please support me with that. That's really close. Okay, so there's like a lot of different things that come up for discipline. When we first started talking about this on Sunday, the first thing that I thought of with discipline was kind of like what you shared at the beginning, like hard and tough and like I have to do something. But then I really started thinking about it, and I grew up as a gymnast, and I always, when I talk to people about being a gymnast, I always talk about how great parents put me into a sport that disciplined me, because I learned how to stay focused. I learned what it meant to like go after a goal. I knew what it meant to be able to talk about mind over matter. Like that conversation came in early, and for anyone who did sports growing up, I mean, it doesn't have to be gymnastics. It could have been, volleyball or running track or whatever it was. Like you understand what I'm talking about. Doing a sport, or even if you were like in band, I'm sure you had a discipline to, do that one thing and get really, really, really good at it. And so that's one thing that comes up for me and that I'm definitely grateful for. Another thing that comes up is the whole consistency thing that we talked about last week, like still looking at, okay, what does it mean and what am I choosing to be consistent at? And now taking this layer of discipline on top of the consistency, I've noticed that discipline for me is a better word than consistency. It just lands better for me. Consistency is not something that like I've kept in the past. And discipline, I can actually it lands for me. Like, different words and different topics mean different things for people. And like discipline to me is consistency. But it's doing it in a focused manner because I'm going after this goal. And it's not just one goal. It could be multiple goals. So the third piece that comes up for me is discipline in my relationship with my husband. That we say date night is every Friday night. And thank goodness we've been honoring that. But things come up, we have events here, something comes up, and we're like, okay, before we choose to do that, when are we honoring that date night time? And to me, that's also a piece of discipline. And something new that we've taken on, I mean, especially for those of you who know Monday and Wednesday nights, like we're here a lot of times till like 11, 12 o'clock at night, some of us, for some of our meetings that we have. And he leaves for corporate America in the morning, and then we're here, so we don't ever actually have a connected conversation. So we've made a no matter what, that for 5 minutes we connect. It could be not talking, but like literally like holding hands, looking at each other in the eye, and like connecting, because that just makes everything okay. And then our communication is better, everything is better, so that's a new discipline that I'm taking on as well. So there's like different areas of it that's really like landing for me and really just came together in this moment for me.
Yeah, and I want to say one thing that came up for me, and then I want to go to Lawrence. When you were talking, and it just reminded me of like everything everyone said, and like originally when I think of the word discipline, my relationship to it, and how often we think of the word discipline and we think of the doing, and like it's so much bigger than doing. It's discipline in the being, and it's discipline in our thinking.
Yeah.
Like it's really like discipline on the highest level. Like Jim Rohn always talks about discipline. I love Jim Rohn as a philosopher on the concept of discipline. And it's disciplining our discipline, like disciplining our mind, disciplining our thinking. How often it's so easy to wake up and give ourselves excuses and buy our own excuses. It's so easy to just listen to the voices. But I believe the hardest discipline is disciplining our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can discipline our thinking and discipline our being, then the actual physical date night or the physical invitation to whatever you're doing, or showing up on time is so much easier. if we can discipline our thinking first. So that's the first thing that came up when you said that, so I wanted to share, but I definitely want more to share.
It's actually kind of a time for what I was saying. I don't know what I was thinking and talked about it a little bit this morning. Discipline to me, I think of discipline similar to how, like, I think of success. Like, it's not something you ever truly achieve. It's just something that it's kind of it's like a continuum. So, you know, at what point are you considered successful? At what point do you consider truly disciplined? Like, I think discipline, it's actually a really good way to track growth and you know, commitment, consistency, all these words that are like very similar connotations. Like for example, as a kid, right? Like the discipline might be something as simple as brushing your teeth, right? But as you master that just becomes a habit, and that's just something you do. And even as adults, you know, something simple as, you know, like making your bed or just these little things. I mean, it's just habit, and as you start to have these small wins, small habits that over time just become like just a no-brainer thing, you then can incorporate new things, new disciplines into your life, and that's a way for you to just monitor growth. And looking back, I can tell, like, the time I've actually noticed growth in my life is when all these things that were supposed to be, you know, significant, like this, the things that I used to have to think about, like to do, they were just done. They were just, I was in this flow, and you know, just thinking about discipline in my relationship to it, it's like almost like the less I have to feel like I'm disciplined, I know that I'm going. Whereas like the times when I'm like in a rut, I'm kind of down. I'm like, okay, how can I get myself back on track? Like, and I just always use that as a way to gauge kind of where I'm at. So.
Wow. Just thinking about what you were saying, and I'm like, if we can, just thinking about this like on a, like if you literally like took a video of the world, like above the world, like I'm thinking about this on a higher conversation, because I always like to elevate the conversation to the highest level, because I think we can learn the most if we can take our vibration to the highest level. But if you literally had a video of the world, and you think about how many people inside of the world are not undisciplined, like you didn't brush your teeth, but just out of integrity with themselves. Like, what percentage of the world is like, I'm going to do this, and then they don't. But if the world, starting with us, like just did what they said they were going to do all the time, like how different our world would operate. It's crazy, because when we don't have integrity with ourselves, we place blame on other people because we're mad at ourselves. Yeah. It's like, I'm mad at myself, I didn't do this, but I'm going to displace the anger on Elise. Because anger and emotions and energy has to go somewhere. So we consistently displace our energy on other people when we don't have integrity with ourselves. And I'm just thinking about the world on like a global scale, and how many people, like, if we just start with us and we discipline ourselves, we start to shift literally our families, like just to shift our family to have integrity with ourselves. Like for Father's Day, I wrote my dad this long emotional email, and I was just like, you know, Dad, I thought about buying you a boat. Like seriously, he loves fishing. I was like, but then I was like, it's a pain in the ass. I don't know how I'm gonna get it shipped there, and I don't know where I'm gonna get the steak. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy you a boat. I'll buy it maybe next year, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I thought about buying you like this wine thing, because I know you love wine. And then I'm like, no. I actually thought about the lessons that you've taught me my whole life, and I thought about what the impact that you've made on me, not by what you've told me, but who you've been, by what you showed me. And the number one thing that I've learned from you is love man and love God. It's the number one thing I've learned from you. The second thing that I've learned from you is that relationships and loving people come first. You've always chosen love over money. You've always chosen people over anything. And then I was like, the third thing that I learned from you is to just be a good person. Like, just be a good person in the world. And I'm like, honestly, you've elevated my level of thinking to allow me to believe in myself, to allow me to be the woman I am today. And like, I want to create disciplines for the Holloway family to be an integrity, like to live your legacy. So I created a Gmail account, hollowaytransformation@gmail.com, and password powered. And I'm like, let's change our family. Like, let's just start with our family. Like, And I got an Audible app for everyone, and I put 15 books in there. And you can, I want our family to share it. I'm like, Mom, I want you to download this. Mom, I want you to start reading these books. Like, Dad, I want you to start reading these books. Like, I know you study the Bible, but let's just start reading. Like, let's start like, if we can change our family, we can change the world. Like, it just starts with you, and then you, and then you. And I was talking to a leader inside of Herbalife. She's made like massive planetary change, you know, and we were talking about the opportunity that we have on the highest level to like help people, because when you start to have financial abundance, you can be like, here, let me put 15 kids through college like she has, or let me just be an opportunity for you to, you know, take Herbalife and actually build your own business, or let me give you food, let me give you health, let me give you nutrition. You have all these tools in your tool belt. And she's like, sometimes we're talking like sometimes you can think of everything going on in the world, like hunger, child starvation, like everything going on in Africa, and it can seem so overwhelming. Like, how do I start? How do I help? And really, it just starts with you. It starts with one person that shifts one person that shifts one person. And it really comes back to having integrity with ourselves, having daily disciplines, doing what we say we're going to do, so we can allow other people to have access to that themselves. Because if we don't, we can't change other people. And I know that was like super out there and super deep, but that all just came to me. Yes,
just what you just said about starting ourselves, like there's you guys, everyone knows who Tony Robbins is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he has this thing about, it's like a challenge of 24 hours to not say a single lie. And I mean, you gotta realize, I mean, I think I'd lasted like 20 minutes, you know, like, I'll be right there, and like, was right there. I think someone was downstairs, and so I'm not gonna tell a lie for 24 hours, got it. And then I was like, I'll be right there, and, you know, I think I went to the bathroom, something, I'm hungry. My point is, like, I took my time when I'm down there, and that's not right there. How many times do you do that, so thinking that doesn't affect someone, you know, and it's just crazy, because if we can't master that, like if you can't even take care of your word, there's no integrity behind what you say, like how are you going to help other people? How are you going to build a team? How are you going to whatever, you know? And it's something that's never, I mean, that, trust me, I'm not saying Laura doesn't tell lies or whatever, you know, but it's just like everyone, it's something that it's that daily discipline of constantly checking yourself and understanding that, okay, cool, like I can be better, I can be better. Doing that over time as you create that habit, though, starts to just have this domino effect. Now, everyone else is careful.
I'm excited.
You're watching Lisa almost fell off the station.
And it's crazy when you start to have the daily disciplines. Like when I'm super, like, I don't know if I've never tried this. I want to. Like last night we had like a meeting, and I still don't know if in 2008 is when Leon Weisman changed the marketing plan. It's killing me because I don't know if it's the truth, and I'm like so like it's like I'm like I gotta find out the exact date because I said it, and like. When you start to like be in like flow with everything you say is your word, is the truth, like you'll pick up little things that aren't way more than like a one little thing. Like you're like, wait, I don't know if that was like really it. Like, but I said it, you know. And like even like if this is like when I'm like really operating in integrity with myself. This sounds super crazy, but if I walk by a piece of trash. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't walk by trash when I'm out of integrity. When I'm in integrity with myself. It's so simple, but it's like my authentic self does not walk by trash. You know? Yeah. Like, littlest things like that. But, like, when I'm in my head and I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do, it's so easy to walk by trash and just even, like, throw my gum out the window and, like, just be sloppy. You know? But when we do have the highest integrity with ourselves, like, how much we have to offer to the world.
To that point, it's like consciousness, like you're saying, that consciousness, and you've seen the commercial, one person opens a door, someone sees that, someone else does something else, they might see that, so throwing that trash out, you don't know who's around you that might see that and go, hey, I'm going to hold open a door or help someone cross the street, and, you know, consciousness discipline, you know, you can definitely feel that when you're out of it, or when you are being in your consciousness and in your integrity and someone's almost attacking you. with their, you know, like I think one of you said, you know, just being outside of themselves and they're putting that blame, like that really hit me. I'm dealing with that in my life right now, where someone doesn't, that anger comes out and he can't take the blame, so he has to put it on everybody else, and I'm the brunt of that right now. So it's really hitting me hard. And I feel like I'm almost at war with myself, staying in that integrity. Yeah. It's just that consciousness of like, this is right. This is not. How do I shift out of it? Or like, you know, she saw me. She came in and hugged me, and I just broke down. Yeah. Just that connection, knowing that she was here. With just that consciousness of one little thing that you can do, and affect so many other people, and you're not doing it for that reason, but you're just doing it because that's who you are. And that's who you want to project out to the world and who you want to put out there. And you never know, like, you smile at someone at Starbucks and you never know how you could change their day. That didn't do anything. It did better for your face than like frowning at people, you know? Yeah. And that can just change the course of someone's day, or just a kind word, even, you know? Just that level of consciousness is so small and so easy for us to do sometimes, and other times so hard, but you never know what that's going to affect, and that ripple, just like a wave or like a rocket in a pond, that ripple effect continues.
Awesome. And just to give you 2 tools right now, and I know Elise can give you one as well. Elise has taught me a lot of this, just so you know, because energy, and this is, I'm no like energy practitioner or like, I don't think it'd be anything, this is just what's worked for me, okay? So just to support you when people displace energy, because energy has to go somewhere. If you've ever been on an ugly phone conversation or the front of like a weird front desk person, or just like somebody in your life is like mad and they displace energy and you notice it, you can just say, send it back. And if you acknowledge the energy and you know that they can actually feel it, when you acknowledge energy, it goes up. And you actually don't need to take out this person's energy. Just say, send it back. Or you can literally, you don't need to say it out loud, you can just say it. I usually go like this. I usually go like this. Yeah. And also it gives them a taste of their own medicine on what they're sending out. And Elise, I don't know if she's open to sharing this, but she shared at least how she's been able to acknowledge where the energy is coming from. Cameron, I'm mad about this right now, and I'm not going to displace the energy on you, but I just want you to be with me in this moment while I'm mad about this. So it's not going into Cameron, which is where in the past it would have gone to. Isn't that crazy how we can have an emotion and just let it go on someone? I don't know if you want to share anything
totally.
about
Yeah,
that.
I definitely want. Yeah, so one of the no, there's, in the last couple of weeks, it's a lesson that I've learned is that, for me anyway, one of my like lifelong, like what one of my life lessons are is emotional honesty, and it's not something that I was shown growing up. I just in my life, it was like put on the happy face no matter what's going on, or for whatever reason, I grew up thinking that it wasn't okay to be sad or to be angry, or, and I, in the past, even in like the recent past, would judge people if they're like angry or sad or something like that. And it's like, because I just want everybody to be happy all the time and all this stuff. And what I'm learning through my transformation is that feeling is good no matter what feeling comes out. Because you have to feel it. If you don't feel it, it displaces somewhere else. So, for instance, the lesson that was spoken, I wish I had the notebook here with me so I could tell you the exact quote, but it's perfectly okay to feel lonely, to feel the anger, to feel the sadness, as long as you feel it cleanly. Because when you create story around it, well, I'm angry because so-and-so made me this and so-and-so made me that, or you're actually talking to someone and like, I can't believe you said that to me, how dare you, that just hurt my feelings, that you just became unclean with your feeling of anger and loneliness and whatever type of feeling it is. So I left a situation the other day and I was like so angry, and I was with Cameron, and most of the time my anger, we would have ended up in miscommunication. Not because of him, but because he didn't understand what I was going through, and I was sounding angry, so he'd be like, why are you angry? And then it just like, all the shit would come up. And it, like, it's stupid. But I did exactly what Laura said. I said, okay, and it was literally right after I'd learned this lesson. I was like, okay, Cam, I'm letting you know I'm angry. And I'm going to be okay with being angry. And normally I wouldn't have been okay. So I was like, I'm going to be okay with being angry. And, like, we literally were able to, like, hold hands, and we, like, were like two little lovebirds, but I was angry. But it was, like, so beautiful. I don't know how to explain it, but other than the fact that I felt my anger cleanly. I didn't try to put it on anybody else. Yes, I was angry because of a situation, but I didn't say that. I said, I'm angry. I'm choosing to be angry in this moment until I let it out. And I'm going to be okay with that. And we, like, loved through the whole process. It was so amazing. And we were both at the end of it, we're like, that was really cool. Let's try that again. You know, so feel your emotions cleanly, and you'll notice a massive shift. And honestly, it's taking responsibility for your emotion. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually experienced this today at the car dealership, and the woman next to me was absolutely not angry about the car. Like, she was just angry and displacing it on the guy that was giving her the car, and I was just, like, looking at them, and I was just like, send it to the light. I was like, just send their energy to the light. Like, send it up. Like, send it to him. I'm like, they're happy, they're good people, and I just smiled.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know, what? Like, just, like, seriously, but you acknowledge it, and there was literally, I told these, I was at my pool the other day, there was a fight with two older men, like, literally swearing, like, big men, like, about to maul each other, and I live in a really nice apartment, like, that people are, like, they're like,
Yeah.
what? Somebody spilled a drink on this guy, and, like, she was like, you like, psycho, and then her husband came, and then it was like this thing, and I was just like, send the love, send the energy, send the positive vibes, like, I was just smiling at the people around the situation, but, like, how often we allow energy to shift us, how often we try to get in energy, we allow it to evoke something inside of us, but, like, literally, you never know how you being the positive light in any situation can shift everything. Like, seriously, like, me just acknowledging those guys, like, I really was focusing on sending the energy between them up. I was like, you know what? I do not want them to fight. Their kids are here. I'm like, just focus. Like, just, it's okay. I'm like, just sending them love. I'm sending them love. I'm sending them light. Like, their energy is not theirs, and they had no responsibility for their emotions. Their kids were in the pool right there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. And in any moment, though, just by being love, in just because that's who we are. I am light and I am love, and I choose to be light and love in every situation. It's obviously not the easiest, especially when that energy is being put at you. But if you just say, I am light, I am love, all times I don't choose to take on your emotions. I am light, I am love, and so are you. So are you, actually. I know you're not. If this anger isn't yours, you know, then you can actually give him a gift as well. I don't know what to share.
Yeah, no, it's great to be hearing that, because coming from, like, you know, being from Jersey, you kind of get a little crazy. But, like, one time I was at, now I know, like, I mean, I'm not, like, really like anymore, but, like, knowing how to switch it like that, rather than, like, one time I was at the DMV and, like, getting my switched over or whatever it was, and the guy was just really nasty and negative, and, like, it was my birthday, and I was like, you know, like, come on. I was like, your energy is just off. Like, I told him. But now, hearing that, it's like, instead of telling him, I can just smile and say, like, have a good day, and maybe it'll switch his feelings, you know, or, like, I know these feelings. So it's really cool to hear that side of it, rather than actually being upfront with them and being like, your energy is just off today, isn't it? Like, you know, I said to smile, but, like, I shouldn't say that. But it's really cool, and hearing what you said also, I really like how you said, like, you acknowledge that you were angry, like, because so many of us do that, and we put in, like, you can be hanging out with someone, and it's not their fault that you're angry, but if you don't announce it, they're like, wow, why is she being negative to me, you know, instead of saying, hey, look, I'm upset about something, but I'm just going to get it out, and then we can go back to being, like, us and having a good time. So I really acknowledge that you said that, because it's a really cool thing to do. It's just, like, own up to it, let it out, and then you can kind of move on from it.
Upset about something.
daughter, I have a teenage daughter, and sometimes when she's around me, she has like an attitude. I'm like, you know, I'm all laughing and happy. Tell me your attitude, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. Nothing. But I can feel her energy. It's like horrible. Then it puts me in a bad situation because I'm like, what's wrong with you? You know, whatever. It changes me.
Yeah.
So what I would take from this is trying to tell her the things that I learned here so we can better communicate. So I could tell her, like, if you're feeling any kind of way, just let me know. Like, Mom, nothing happened, but I'm just feeling like off a little bit today. Then I could take that with me, like, okay, she's off. You know what? I can't. Then I won't change how I'm feeling. So that's what I would take with, you know, to work out things with my teenage daughter, because sometimes she's in a funk. Well, what's wrong? And she doesn't want to talk about it. Or anything like that. But communicate with her to let me know she's just feeling off, or if something getting, I can really be more open with me.
Yeah,
That's what
really
I'm saying.
that's awesome.
So great.
Yeah.
And more daughters. Wow, so a lot came up for me through all of that, and kind of piggybacking off of what you said about realizing where your anger is actually coming from, and then being able to acknowledge it, and then kind of settling yourself down after that is huge. That actually happened to me last night here at Fit Club, and we were getting ready for a diamond, and I was like excited about it, and everybody here I think was just really excited, anxious, nervous, like all these different mixed emotions, and I bring Noah with me. For those of you who don't know, he's my son. He's 8 years old. I bring him with me every time, and so last night my babysitter actually happened to come to Fit Club, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind taking him back with her because I didn't want him to have to stay and sit through everything and get bored. So at first he was on board with it, and then he got upset because Mason was still here, who was Christina's little boy, and he gets to stay, so I want to stay with him too. And I was like, you know what? You're going to be bored. You're going to be upset. I mean, you can fall asleep on the couch. It's fine, but I would prefer if you just went somewhere. And so anyway, he kind of threw a little bit of a fit, and I was caught off guard because he doesn't do that normally. And I think he just saw that Mason was here and he didn't get to stay, so whatever. Anyway, I said, okay. So I told my babysitter, I was like, thank you anyway. You guys can go ahead and go, but he's going to go ahead and stay. She said, okay. Well, then suddenly his mind flipped, and he saw her leaving, and he flipped out. And so then he starts crying, like these crocodile tears, and he wanted to go with her. I was like, she already what do you want to do? I hardly yell at him. I mean, I don't have to. He's such a good kid. So he was freaking out that I'm yelling at him, especially around all his positivity. And he's like, I don't know. You need to tell me because she's about to leave. She already walked out the door, and he was like, I want to go with her, and I was like, and so we walked to the front, and somebody was walking up, and I was like, sorry. And I was like, Kylie, he's going with you. And like, I thought he didn't want to come with me, and I was like, I don't know what he wants, just take him with you. And he was like, and I was like, bye. And he was like, I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so upset right now? Why did that make me so mad? So I came in and I sat down, and I sat right here just for a second, and I was like, what is wrong with me? I couldn't understand what was really going on. And then I talked to Andrea, and she was like, what's wrong? I said, what do you mean what's wrong? She was like, it's written all over your face like you're upset. And I was like, I'm fine. I was like, I just, I yelled at Noah for no reason. I'm still trying to figure that out. And she was like, well, what's going on? And I was like, nothing. She was like, what else has happened today? And I was like, nothing. And then I was like, oh, I had a conversation with my dad earlier today that really upset me, and I forgot about it. I looked at the text message he sent me. I wrote him back, and after that I was like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't want to deal with it right now. I when she started talking to me, my eyes started to water, and I was like, wow, that's what's wrong. That's why I'm so upset. And I was like, good Lord, like,
And it just got displaced in a totally different form.
it did, but she like sat here and she calmed me down. She like rubbed my shoulders and talked about everything and how I was like feeling. And after that, I was like, I'm good. And I picked up Noah late last night, and I was like, hey. I'm good. I'm so sorry about it earlier. And he was like, you're crazy. But I still love you, Mom. I was like, I'm so sorry. And so we talked about it later, and he was fine. He was fine this morning. And it's so funny because this morning he goes, Mom, I know that you love me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, it's just finding that, where is it really coming from? And I was seriously blocking it off so much because Andrew was like, what's wrong? Like, I can see it. You're not being Elena. And I was like, I'm fine, Andrew. What are you talking about? Stop asking me what's wrong. But she got down to the nitty-gritty, and that's just what you need sometimes, is to really, like, if you can't find it on your own, somebody else is going to point it out to you, and you just have to accept it and let them keep asking you instead of, shutting it off.
Yeah.
So good.
I have one really quick thing just to add to that is like that's a perfect example of how do we each take on disciplining those moments. Like you were saying, disciplining thought. Like if we can actually learn to discipline ourselves to own the emotion in the moment, or say, okay, that was displaced going, like, okay, where did that come from? Like that's a perfect thing that we all can take on to learn how to discipline ourselves in our emotions and our thoughts.
That's pretty much exactly what I'm going to say, is like the fact that, and it piggybacks off of yours as well, is when we sit and take the time to actually think about where that's coming from, that to me is like one of the highest forms of discipline. You know what I mean? Like taking the time to sit and recognize where that feeling is coming from and why that came up for you. Because so often you could have yelled at him and then come back in and, yelled at somebody else and then had the rest of the night continue to go that way. But you stopped because you were disciplined enough to sit in the corner and think about where that was coming from. To me, super disciplined, and it's the same with what you said. It's like, for me, it's consistency and discipline internally, just conversations that I have with myself. And it's so easy for me sometimes to get caught up in the conversation I have in myself that's like negative, this isn't going to work, that's not going to work, don't do that, don't do this, and I've been really practicing being consistently disciplined to sit and listen to where that's coming from and acknowledge it and act accordingly. So I think it was a couple weeks ago we talked about when, for me, a lot of my life is lived, when I breathe, it stops in my chest. And that freaks me out. Like it gets to the point sometimes where it's like, I don't know what the word is, but this is how it feels in my chest 90% of the time. Like it's scary to me. So I've been slowing down and taking the time to like feel where it comes in here. And then when I can feel the breath in there for several breaths, my mind is clear and I can think about what needs to happen or what conversation I need to have with myself to move forward. So I feel like that's just, for me, discipline at its like core, starting from within yourself.
Just to go off of that really quick, I need to find the name of this book. I cannot think of it. Sure. There's a book, and I cannot think of the name. One of you in here might actually know what it's called. But there's a woman that I used to meet with because I had a lot of similar issues. A lot of my anxiety came right here. It was always in my chest, And I was talking to her about it, and there's a book that talks about where you feel pain physically on your body and how it relates to what you're going through. And so for me, it was like chest, and heart. Like I kept thinking something was wrong with me. But those of you who don't know, my friend who passed away 3.5 years ago actually passed away with heart disease. And so for the longest time after he passed away, I felt like I was dying of heart disease. And it was something that I made up in my mind. Anyway, the way that she related it to me was that going through the book was that something that you're feeling in your chest is something you're extremely passionate about, and it comes from your heart because you love it so much. And so when you're scared of it, or you're feeling some kind of pressure from it, or you feel like you can't breathe and it's right here, it's because you're so afraid of losing that love for whatever that thing could be, that you feel it right in that space. So yeah, it's an entire book. I've got to like reach out to her.
Yeah.
See if I can find it. And, I'll actually I'll get in touch with her. I have her on Facebook, so I'll ask her for the name of that book, and I can post it in the team page. But I mean, it's just like, wow, I really need to. I need to grab that book, because every now and then I feel that same pressure come back again. Like, it's all in the heart. It's something that I'm passionate about. You know, breathe, calm down.
Well, like you said, if you keep that up, like I've noticed too from having like anxiety and everything, so you keep it all in. I used to have a lot of anxiety, and I never really let it never let it out, and I would always just keep it in, push back, and like I can't cry anymore just because I've cried way too much in my life, so that it doesn't happen. But then like I'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden I just feel pressure, and I'm like, I feel great. Like today was a great day. What's going on? I'm like, there's nothing wrong. But like all of that built up, it just comes in your chest. Sometimes like you have that, it really just like comes at you. So it's like you said, it's better to just like sit, breathe, let it out. Like even if it's just taking some, like you said, a few breaths to actually feel that again, and then just like let it.
You subconsciously manifest it.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it. You're putting all of these things on the back burner.
Right.
And then when you're feeling great, your chest is like, and you're like, again.
Right.
What's wrong?
So just breathe and let it out.
Piggyback off you a little bit, but saying for a while, I was, like you were saying, I was so angry. I was in a really bad relationship, and I just, I didn't deal with it. So I don't know exactly what you're going through, props to you for dealing with it. Because, and then I was one of those people that was just so angry and yelling at cab drivers, and just like, it was never me. I'm a very happy, bubbly person, and that's what I wasn't dealing with, the root of the matter, which was that relationship. I just thought it was going to go away, and it didn't, it got worse. Even you're just scared, you don't have the discipline to deal with it, but it's there. So again, good for you for dealing with it now, whatever it is, you're doing the right thing. But it just makes other problems. And when I see people like that, like whoever said, like the girl at Starbucks or whatever, the angry person, she's going through something. Like people that are angry, and even the person I was talking about that's my relationship, there's something wrong with him, he's going through something, and like we have to be the bigger people and deal with it and just be kind still, and create this positive light, because they're suffering too. And it took me a long time to realize that like this person's evil or he's doing bad things. I'm like, you know what? There's something within him that's why he's suffering too. And then I dealt with the matter, and now I'm happy, positive, and I see all these happy, positive people. I'm not that person anymore. I wish I had the discipline to deal with it earlier, but at least, I think we just gotta face our problems, or everybody just face the problem, or got happy, the world would be so different. But so, and again, one more thing, if someone, a yogi taught me this, is very great. When you see somebody with really good energy, by the way, just do something with your arms upward, like you can be like, oh, whatever, but like something total opposite, and their energy is horrible, then you just want to go like this, and then you just like slap, whatever you're doing, like it creates that energy to stop right now.
I'm glad to be like at work or wherever, like.
women, men, all of us to shut things down and to move on, keep going, keep trucking, don't cry, keep going, put on a happy face, and the discipline is there. So to take yourself out of that and like almost go to the 180 and like, okay, I'm gonna constantly change my discipline, because I think there can be a negative discipline and negative, like, just don't like ignore everything, to be able to just like walk in and like have her literally put her hands on me and go, okay. There were times where, same as Elise, I wouldn't do that. Happy face, I was the strong one, keep going, you're a rock, you can take it. But to be able to be that normal person and to like be in a group of people that I don't know and be like, yeah, I'm just whatever, here comes, all right, let it out, you guys got it happen. Because I know, like it's tiny. No matter what it is, I know in myself when I need to cry or when I need to get it out, put on some songs, let it go, drive around, whatever needs to happen, because then I can then move forward. But to consciously change that discipline from don't do this, don't do that, keep going, keep trucking, you're going to be fine, and it does get worse. No matter what the problem is, or issue is, or person is.
No matter what you are, too.
And no matter who you are,
exactly. Yeah. You're not mad.
Yeah. And just to acknowledge that, like you said, it's a lot of times I think we're also taught, maybe it's women, I don't know, men-wise, if this happens, but women, it's us. It's my fault. I take that on. Why did this happen? Yeah, and to just really, like you said, acknowledge that you're in pain and you're dealing with your own thing, and I have to choose how I'm going to deal with that moving forward, but I have to acknowledge that this is where you are, and I get to acknowledge my feelings with it, and like you said, either this or just whatever. It's interesting that the discipline that can be negative that you then have to kind of change or and take yourself a different direction, but acknowledge it, say, okay, that's where that used to be, and move a different direction to change it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's 12:54, so we're going to do action steps. Today was really awesome, and I feel like, really to come out of this on a high note and an excitement around discipline. I feel like number one, what comes up for me is no matter what, I don't know, like, where, I feel like everybody has this, but I don't think that I'm special at all. I actually know I'm not special. It's just inside of us, there's this burning desire inside of me to have a forever discipline to grow. There's like a burning desire inside of me for no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it gets, no matter where I am, just grow. Like, go to the light. Like, there's a strong sense to go through it, go to the light. Like, just keep growing. And it's not like $1 million and $1 billion and it stops. It's not even about money. It's not even about like joyful. It's like it doesn't stop. Like the growth to the light doesn't stop. And I feel like if we can have a daily discipline, a daily practice to grow, period, to grow, to be positive, to make a difference on the planet, to be the best version of ourselves in that moment, whatever that looks like, to be on purpose, to live on purpose, to be a light, and to allow other people to be a light because you are. Like, I feel like it's the discipline that we're all here to make. Because inside of that, production happens. Inside of that, whatever you're trying to do, if you're trying to book a TV show, if you're trying to, get a promotion at work, if you're trying to have a better relationship with your daughter, if you're on a personal growth journey, like for instance, I've been on a personal growth journey, and just through me doing the work, like I've been able to shift my family. Not like without them doing the work. Yeah. Like you have no idea what you committing to doing the work is, and you committing to being the best version of yourself can have to the person next to you, the person across the street, to the person across the world. You have no idea what difference that you could make. To the random person, the client that shared this with their mom that needed to hear this today. No idea the difference that we can make. So this week, let's create a commitment to be disciplined, whatever that looks like. Write down, let's call it, since this book is 5, what would be 5 years from today? I love this book. 5. What are your 5 disciplines you're going to do this week? I know what my 5 are. I've made a commitment to my accountability partners. I'm showing up for a team of 4 this week. I'm showing up for myself this week. If you need an accountability partner in your life, get one. But let's be disciplined this week in growth, whatever that looks like. You good with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So For those of you that it's your first time, we have tons of different things that we do here. This is just one. All right, so we have free workouts, we have post-recovery nutrition, we teach people how to get the best shape of their lives through nutrition, fitness, and mindset. We have tomorrow night our biggest workout of the week is at 7 p.m. There's going to be about 150, 200 people inside of here. Friday, Elise teaches an amazing yoga class. It's really, really great. If you're interested in being a part of our movement, I know like we have some brand new coaches with us that came into this event first. They're just like, I want to pay it forward. I want to be a part of what you guys are doing. We have coaches training on Saturday. And then Sunday we have a workout as well. So get the schedule for the person that invited you down. Thank you guys for being present today. Thank you guys for everybody that shared. And happy MindFit! All right, let's take a selfie. I'm gonna do it